Imagine a man standing at the edge of a cliff. Below him, the wind howls, the waves crash, and the world seems impossibly vast. He strains every muscle, reaching for a rope that never quite seems long enough. Every step he takes toward his goal feels heavier than the last, and yet, despite his tireless effort, the summit drifts further away, as if the universe itself were conspiring to keep him waiting. At the same time, another man climbs the same mountain. He is no stronger, no smarter, no better trained. Yet he moves forward almost effortlessly, each step guided by an unseen hand, as if the world itself had opened a secret path just for him. The contrast is jarring, and it raises a question that most people never stop to ask. What if the difference is not in strength, talent, or preparation? What if the difference lies somewhere far beneath the surface, inside the mind? This is the strange truth about human achievement. Effort alone rarely brings success. Ambition alone cannot reach the heights you imagine. There is a hidden current beneath every thought, a force that either draws your goals toward you or pushes them away. And most people, unaware of it, drift on this current, believing they are moving forward while their inner world quietly resists. Years ago, I met a man who seemed to have unlocked this secret. He had nothing extraordinary in his resume, no special education, no brilliant connections. Yet he achieved with ease what others labored over for decades. Curious, I asked him how he did it. His answer was simple but powerful. He said, "I stopped fighting against myself. I let my mind guide my steps instead of my fears." He had discovered the first great law of success: alignment. It is one of life's ironies that the person who pushes with all his might may move no closer to his aim, while someone who stops resisting finds the path opens before him. Most of us imagine we are chasing our dreams, yet our hidden doubts, our fears, and our divided intentions pull us in the opposite direction. What we call obstacles in the outside world are often reflections of inner misalignment. This is why desire alone is never enough. To reach your goals, your mind must be in harmony with your ambitions. Your thoughts, beliefs, and expectations must move together in a steady rhythm. When this inner alignment is achieved, the outer world begins to arrange itself in ways you could never have imagined. Doors open, ideas appear, people come into your life to help, and circumstances begin to favor you. The key is definiteness of intention. You must know what you want so clearly that your heart stirs every time you think of it. You must hold it steadily in your mind, speak it aloud each day, write it down, and revisit it until it becomes part of your very nature. A vague wish will bring vague results. A clear, unwavering purpose calls the universe to your side. Belief is the spark that lights the fire. Expectancy is the magnet that draws what you desire. The man who succeeds is not necessarily the one who works harder, but the one who expects success, who believes without hesitation that the outcome is already on its way. Your actions alone cannot produce lasting results. The unseen force of belief and expectation amplifies your efforts, turning ordinary action into extraordinary achievement. I have watched this happen countless times. People with no special training, no rare talent, achieve what seemed impossible, simply because they believed in the outcome and held their minds firmly on it. They did not fight the current of life. They learned to move with it. And when they acted, every step was guided by an invisible hand that seemed to arrange circumstances in their favor. Gratitude is the great harmonizer. It aligns your mind with the good you seek. Begin each day by giving thanks for the blessings you already possess and for those on the way. Gratitude dissolves doubt, strengthens faith, and allows your inner magnet to draw more of what you desire. It is not superstition. It is law. The universe responds to the energy you project. If your mind is filled with fear and worry, that is what life will reflect back. If it is filled with faith, expectation, and gratitude, life will answer with opportunities and support. Every achievement begins first as a thought. Every discovery, every invention, every success started as a picture in the mind. A quiet, vivid image, nurtured with belief and expectation, grows until it becomes reality. Yet most people drift through life without choosing the direction of their thoughts. They allow fear, doubt, and confusion to take the helm. And then they wonder why their lives are scattered, chaotic, or disappointing. The Creator has granted each of us dominion over one priceless possession, the power to hold our minds on the things we desire rather than the things we fear. This is the essence of the law of attraction. Your dominant thoughts draw to you the conditions that match them. Think of failure, and failure follows. Think of success, and success is drawn toward you. This is not magic, it is principle. The law never sleeps. It never tires. It answers only to the patterns you impress upon your consciousness. If you want to master this law, begin with clarity. Know exactly what you want. Make your intention vivid, compelling, and unwavering. Feed it with belief, nurture it with expectancy, and fortify it with gratitude. Let your thoughts, feelings, and actions move in harmony with that intention. And then watch as life begins to conspire in your favor. Stand at the edge of your own cliff today and decide. Will you fight against the wind, straining in every direction but moving nowhere? Or will you step into the current of alignment, letting your mind guide your actions, trusting the unseen forces to carry your purpose forward? The choice is yours. One moment of clarity, one firm decision, can begin a chain of events that leads to achievement beyond imagination. This is the first step in mastering the hidden current of success. Desire alone is not enough. Effort alone is not enough. Alignment, clarity, belief, expectancy, and gratitude form the engine that powers achievement. Hold this truth in your mind, practice it daily, and you will discover a power that is yours by birth, a power that has been waiting quietly for you to awaken. Your journey begins now. Hold your vision, believe in it, expect it, and give thanks. Step forward, and life itself will rise to meet you. This is part 1, roughly 1,000 words, in story style and simple language suitable for an American audience. It sets up the themes for parts 2 to 6, belief, expectancy, clear intention, gratitude, alignment, and inner discipline. If you want, I can continue and create part 2 in the same style, diving deeper into the magnetism of belief and expectancy with practical story examples and easy, inspiring lessons. Do you want me to proceed with part 2? Here's part 2 of your 6-part motivational series, rewritten in an engaging, story-style format inspired by Napoleon Hill. It is crafted for an American audience, uses easy and simple language, opens with a strong hook, and is around 1,000 words. Part 2, The Power of Clear Intention and Emotional Alignment. A young woman sat at her kitchen table, staring at a blank notebook. She had dreams that burned brightly in her heart, dreams of starting her own business, of helping people, of living life on her terms. Yet every morning, she woke to uncertainty. Her days drifted, filled with small tasks, distractions, and doubts. Her goals were vague, her intentions unformed, and life responded exactly as it should, uncertain, scattered, and slow. Uncertain aims attract uncertain days. That is one of life's simplest truths. But the moment she decided to define her goal with precision, everything began to shift. She did not merely wish for success. She did not hope vaguely for a better future. She created a mental picture so clear that she could describe it in one sentence. She imagined her business thriving, her clients satisfied, and her life aligned with purpose. That clarity became her signal to the universe, a call that could not be ignored. The law of attraction works only with what you can define. The mind cannot attract what it does not understand. When her intention was vague, her energy scattered. When it became specific, her thoughts, her ideas, and even her actions began to align. She noticed opportunities she had ignored before. People appeared at the right moment. Ideas sparked in her mind that she would never have planned. The universe was responding to the signal she had set, yet intention alone was not enough. She discovered that a mind scattered in many directions gains little. Focus is the power that magnifies intention. Each day she spent a few minutes visualizing her goal as already achieved. She imagined the satisfaction of success, the relief of accomplishment, the joy of living in harmony with her purpose. That simple habit built a discipline that few ever attain, but it became one of her greatest treasures. A clear intention demands alignment. She realized she could not hold her goal in mind while allowing her thoughts to wander toward fear or failure. Each time doubt entered, she returned to her intention, reinforcing it with belief and gratitude. Every affirmation strengthened the magnetic pull of her desire. She learned to protect her mind from those who spoke in terms of limitation. The world is full of people who see only what has been, never what could be. Their doubts are not yours to carry unless you permit them. She made her intention a guiding star. When her confidence wavered, she returned to it. When the path seemed long, she reflected upon it. With each repetition, her goal became etched deeply into her subconscious. Soon, intention was no longer a hope, it became expectation. And expectation is the key that unlocks manifestation. Once she grasped the importance of clear intention, she turned her attention to the habit of constructive thought. Every achievement begins in the mind. The law of attraction is forever obedient, but it requires quality material. Thoughts that are scattered, negative, or filled with doubt produce weak results. Constructive thought, however, is powerful and purposeful. It directs the mind toward solutions, opportunities, and advancement, instead of fear or complaint. She realized she was the custodian of her own thinking. No circumstance, no person, no memory could dictate her thoughts unless she gave them that power. Constructive thinking was not about blind optimism. It was purposeful thinking, the conscious habit of seeking possibilities even in difficult moments. When anger or doubt arose, she learned to replace them with calm, faith, or gratitude. Each substitution strengthened the habit, and repetition made it automatic. Accuracy of thought was also essential. She began questioning her beliefs. Were they based on facts or fear? Rumor or reality? By thinking clearly and separating truth from illusion, she took control of her inner world. Each morning, before the day began, she conditioned her mind with ideas of growth, prosperity, and purpose. This small act determined how she responded to challenges, shaping her outcomes before the world even had a chance to test her. Next, she discovered the hidden power of emotional alignment. Thought gives direction, but emotion gives vitality. Every emotion carries a vibration. Joy, gratitude, enthusiasm, and faith lift the mind to a higher frequency where ideas take root and the law of attraction responds effortlessly. Fear, anger, doubt, and discouragement drag the mind downward, distorting goals and intentions. She learned to observe her emotional state, noticing whether her feelings matched her intentions. When she pictured success, she felt expansion and confidence. When fear tried to creep in, she acknowledged it and transformed it into caution, not paralysis. Each choice became a deliberate act of emotional governance. She used gratitude as her compass, giving thanks for both blessings she possessed and those on their way. This practice created an inner climate where her desires could grow freely, supported by the law of attraction. Enthusiasm became her secret ally. It is the emotion of forward movement, the fire that propels ideas into action. When guided with wisdom, enthusiasm awakens imagination, quickens the mind, and inspires perseverance. But she learned to balance it. Too much released at the wrong time could make one reckless. Applied with awareness, it became her inner engine, driving consistent effort in harmony with her intention. She also learned the art of transmuting negative emotions. When anger arose, she channeled it into determination. When fear whispered warnings, she converted it into measured caution. When sorrow pressed upon her heart, she lifted her thoughts to the lessons it contained. Every emotion carries energy. Through discipline, that energy could be redirected toward purpose, not wasted on doubt or despair. Emotional alignment is a daily practice. Each day she chose higher emotions, creating a stable inner climate. The law of attraction mirrored that climate, producing opportunities, support, and ideas almost as if by magic. Life began to reflect the harmony of her inner world. She understood that the power of thought and emotion, when combined, is greater than anything external. Together, they formed the foundation for every achievement. Finally, she embraced the discipline of focus and attention. The mind is powerful, but untrained, it scatters energy across countless unproductive channels. Only by directing attention consistently can one harness that power. Every thought, every feeling, every action must align with the chosen goal. Distraction weakens, focus strengthens. Attention becomes a magnet that draws circumstances, people, and opportunities toward your intention. Through clarity of intention, constructive thought, emotional alignment, and focused attention, she discovered a truth that changed her life. Success does not come to the strongest or smartest alone. It comes to those who master their inner world, who know precisely what they want, and who align their mind, emotions, and actions with that desire. Life begins to respond when the inner world is disciplined, clear, and harmonious. She closed her notebook, a smile touching her lips. Her future had begun the moment she defined it clearly, disciplined her thoughts, aligned her emotions, and focused her attention. The journey was just beginning, but already, life had begun to bend toward her purpose. This completes part 2, roughly 1,000 words. It builds on part 1 and introduces clear intention, constructive thought, emotional alignment, discipline of focus. These form the foundation for the remaining parts, which can further explore belief, expectancy, gratitude, and mastery of the law of attraction in practical, story-based examples. I can now create part 3 in the same engaging story style, focusing on belief, expectancy, and the magnetism of thought. Do you want me to continue with part 3? Here's part 3 of your 6-part motivational series, rewritten in engaging story style inspired by Napoleon Hill. It is tailored for an American audience, easy and simple in language, includes an engaging hook, and is approximately 1,000 words. Part 3, Focus, Belief, and the Invisible Force of Expectancy. A young man named Daniel sat at his desk, staring at the scattered notes of his unfinished projects. He was ambitious, filled with dreams of creating a business that could change lives. Yet no matter how hard he worked, progress seemed slow, results uncertain. The hours passed, yet the breakthroughs never came. He felt frustrated, as if effort alone could not pierce the fog of uncertainty that clouded his life. Then one morning, a mentor gave him a piece of advice that changed everything. "Daniel," he said, "the universe responds most strongly to a mind that is united, steady, and focused. Your thoughts scatter, your actions divide, and your results will mirror that chaos. Focus is the lens that concentrates your power. Without it, desire remains a vague wish, and life responds in kind." Daniel had never thought of focus this way. He realized that his attention was like a river, constantly diverted by distractions, frustrations, and minor irritations. Every discouraging comment, every unexpected difficulty, stole a little of his creative energy. Each time his mind wandered, the law of attraction responded to the wrong pattern. He learned that focus begins with deliberate choice. Every morning, he would identify the aims that mattered most. He wrote them down, reviewed them, and made them the standard by which he measured every thought and action. Thoughts that did not serve his purpose were released. Thoughts that strengthened his direction were embraced. Focus, he discovered, was not mere effort. It was a disciplined art, the conscious act of guiding his mind toward the conditions he desired. To strengthen his focus, Daniel established quiet moments of stillness each day. In these moments, he held his goals in his mind with clarity. He imagined them fully realized. He felt the joy of achievement, the satisfaction of completion, the excitement of walking the path of success. This was not daydreaming. It was mental conditioning. The law of attraction began to respond because his thoughts, now concentrated, created a blueprint the universe could follow. But thought alone was not enough. Action, taken with intention, had to follow. Daniel learned to work fully when he worked, to plan completely when he planned. Each step aligned with his vision, each action reinforced his focus. The divided mind accomplishes little. The concentrated mind accomplishes much. Within weeks, Daniel noticed a remarkable shift. Tasks became easier, ideas sharper, confidence grew, and opportunities aligned themselves naturally with his focused energy. Yet the real turning point came when Daniel understood the power of belief. There is an unseen reservoir of strength within every individual, and it is called belief, the quiet certainty that your desire is possible, worthy, and destined to take form. Without belief, the law of attraction cannot operate effectively. Belief is silent, subtle, but it underlies every achievement. When belief is strong, obstacles lose their grip. Delays no longer discourage. Doubt cannot penetrate. When belief is weak, even minor setbacks feel insurmountable. Daniel realized that every belief he held, whether uplifting or limiting, had been formed through repetition. Fear, doubt, and inadequacy were not innate. They had been adopted over time, through experience and influence. But the same process could be used to replace them. To strengthen his belief, Daniel began examining his assumptions. Did he truly believe he was worthy of success? Did he truly believe his goals could become reality? Did he believe in his own ability to improve his circumstances? Where he hesitated, he took deliberate action. He fed his mind with thoughts that reinforced his aims. Repetition impressed these beliefs upon his subconscious, and the subconscious mind became the engine behind the law of attraction. Daniel also discovered the power of visualization. He pictured his goals as already achieved. He felt their reality. He imagined conversations, outcomes, and experiences as if they were happening now. This act strengthened his belief and allowed his mind to accept the image of success as possible, then probable, then inevitable. With visualization, belief moved from idea to certainty. He learned to guard his belief against weakening influences. Voices of doubt, both external and internal, would always exist. Family members, friends, and colleagues might question his path. Negative news, past failures, and fleeting fears tried to penetrate his certainty. But Daniel refused to surrender. He remembered that belief operates quietly, forming the foundation upon which all achievement rests. It could not be forced, but it could be nurtured, protected, and strengthened. Perhaps the most profound lesson Daniel learned was the power of expectancy. Expectancy is belief in action, a confident anticipation that your intention is moving toward fulfillment. While belief lays the foundation, expectancy directs the flow. When Daniel acted with expectancy, he noticed that ideas appeared when needed, solutions emerged unexpectedly, and opportunities aligned themselves in ways he could not have orchestrated. The universe was responding to the quiet, unwavering signal of his mind. Daniel began to understand the invisible mechanics at work. Focus directs attention. Belief fuels certainty. Expectancy calls opportunity. Action, taken with alignment and purpose, creates movement. Combined, these forces form a magnet for achievement. He realized that effort alone, without clarity, without belief, without emotional harmony, is often wasted. But when these forces operate in harmony, life bends to match your vision. By the end of the month, Daniel's life had shifted in ways that amazed him. A meeting he had hoped for arrived unexpectedly. A mentor reached out at just the right moment. A creative solution to a persistent problem appeared clearly in his mind. The law of attraction was no longer a theory. It was living proof in his daily experience. Daniel's story illustrates a truth Napoleon Hill often emphasized: success is not a matter of luck, chance, or brute effort. It is the product of a mind trained to focus, a heart filled with belief, and a soul aligned with purpose. Discipline of thought, emotional harmony, and deliberate expectation shape the conditions in which achievement becomes inevitable. And so, Daniel continued to practice. Every day, he held his intention with clarity. He nurtured his beliefs, aligned his emotions, and focused his attention with precision. He allowed no distraction, no doubt, no scattered thought to divert him from his aim. In doing so, he tapped into an unseen power within himself, a force that moves silently, persistently, and faithfully toward every mind that knows what it wants and refuses to settle for less. The lesson is clear. The mind is a creative instrument. Focus it deliberately. Feed it with beliefs that strengthen rather than weaken. Align your emotions with your desires. Act with expectancy, and the law of attraction will respond. The universe is not blind. It answers the signals you send. Concentration, belief, and expectancy together create a force that is unstoppable. Daniel's journey had only begun, but already he had tasted the transformative power of a unified mind. He had learned that attention is the currency of creation. Where focus flows, life follows. What you choose to believe, expect, and align with becomes the reality you live. The seed is planted. The law is in motion. The harvest is inevitable. This completes part 3, about 1,000 words, focusing on the discipline of focus, the power of unified attention, belief, and inner certainty, visualization, and expectancy. If you want, I can now continue with part 4, emphasizing emotional mastery, gratitude, and practical techniques for harmonizing thought and feeling to amplify the law of attraction. Do you want me to continue with part 4? Here's part 4 of your 6-part motivational series, rewritten in engaging story style inspired by Napoleon Hill. It is crafted for an American audience, uses easy and simple language, opens with a strong hook, and is around 1,000 words. Part 4, Emotional Mastery and the Magnetism of Gratitude. Sophia had achieved clarity in her intentions. She had focused her thoughts and nurtured her belief. Yet despite all her preparation, she often felt restless and frustrated. Tasks that should have been simple seemed heavy. Opportunities appeared then slipped away. She knew something was missing, a hidden force that could transform her efforts into results. One evening, her mentor invited her to take a walk. The sun was low, casting long shadows across the park. "Sophia," he said, "you understand focus and belief, but there is another force that drives the law of attraction even more quietly, more powerfully. It is emotion. How you feel as you think determines how the universe responds. Sophia paused. She had never considered her emotions in such detail. She realized that even with clarity and belief, her energy was often disrupted by worry, frustration, and doubt. Her intentions were strong, but her emotional state sometimes pulled in the opposite direction, scattering the energy she had so carefully cultivated. You must align your emotions with your desires, her mentor continued. Thought gives direction, but emotion gives life. Without emotional alignment, your intentions lack the power to move beyond the mind into reality. The law of attraction responds not only to what you think, but to the emotional tone with which you think it. Sophia decided to experiment. Each morning, before beginning her day, she sat quietly and reflected on her intentions. She imagined them fully realized, but this time, she paid attention to the feelings accompanying her thoughts. She noticed tension, doubt, or anxiety whenever she imagined obstacles. She learned to acknowledge these emotions without surrendering to them. Instead, she replaced fear with faith, frustration with calm, and uncertainty with gratitude. Gratitude became her greatest tool. Every day, she listed not only what she already had, but also what she expected to receive. Gratitude softened the mind, dissolved fear, and strengthened belief. It created an inner climate in which her goals could grow freely. She began to notice that when she felt genuine appreciation, ideas came more easily. Opportunities that had seemed impossible suddenly appeared within reach. The law of attraction, obedient to emotional vibration, reflected her gratitude outwardly. Her mentor also taught her the importance of enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is the emotion of forward movement, he explained. It propels ideas into action and awakens the imagination. But it must be balanced with wisdom. Too much enthusiasm, unchecked, can lead to recklessness. The right amount, focused and purposeful, becomes a powerful engine driving your desires toward fulfillment. Sophia learned to cultivate enthusiasm consciously. She felt the excitement of progress, no matter how small. Each achievement, each step forward, ignited her energy and reinforced her belief. She discovered that enthusiasm creates momentum. The more she felt it, the more the universe responded with ideas, solutions, and unexpected support. Yet, emotional mastery required more than gratitude and enthusiasm. Sophia learned to transmute negative emotions. When anger arose, she channeled it into determination. When fear whispered warnings, she converted it into caution without losing momentum. When sadness weighed on her, she lifted her thoughts to the lessons it offered. Every emotion, even painful ones, carried energy. Through disciplined practice, that energy could be redirected to serve her highest goals. She realized emotional alignment is not a single act, but a daily practice. Each choice, each moment of awareness, shaped the inner climate that the law of attraction would mirror externally. Challenges would always appear, but how she responded emotionally determined the results she attracted. With consistent practice, her mind, heart, and emotions began to work in harmony, creating a powerful magnet for success. One afternoon, a sudden problem threatened to derail her plans. A key partner pulled out of a project at the last moment. In the past, Sophia would have panicked, allowing fear to dominate her thoughts. This time, she paused, breathed deeply, and aligned her emotions. She acknowledged the disappointment, then replaced fear with curiosity and determination. Her mind cleared. New possibilities appeared. Within hours, an even better partnership opportunity arose, one she had never anticipated. Her emotional alignment had guided her to a superior outcome. Sophia's daily practice became a ritual. Morning reflections of gratitude, visualization of success, and cultivation of enthusiasm set the tone for her day. She observed her emotional state throughout, ensuring that doubt, anger, or impatience were transformed into productive energy. The law of attraction began to respond almost automatically. She felt it in subtle ways, small coincidences, timely advice, and sudden insights that led to major breakthroughs. She also discovered a quiet truth: the universe mirrors the inner world. If her emotions were chaotic, opportunities became tangled or slipped away. If her emotions were harmonious, doors opened and paths cleared. Emotional mastery was no longer optional, it was essential. Thought, belief, and action could take her far, but emotion amplified and sustained the power behind them. By the end of the month, Sophia had transformed not only her results, but also her daily experience. Challenges became lessons, obstacles became opportunities, and her energy attracted success effortlessly. She realized that emotional alignment is not about ignoring difficulty. It is about mastering the emotional response, creating a steady vibration that supports desire. Her mentor summarized the lesson simply. Sophia, mastery of thought gives direction. Belief provides strength. Expectancy calls opportunity. But emotion is the fuel that drives the process. When your feelings, thoughts, and actions align with purpose, the universe cannot resist. It responds. Opportunities appear. Solutions arise. Life begins to reflect your inner harmony. Sophia smiled, understanding now why so many people struggle despite effort and intelligence. They neglect the emotional dimension, allowing fear, doubt, and frustration to undo their intentions. The secret, she realized, is not merely to think correctly or act with purpose, but to cultivate a mental and emotional climate that the law of attraction naturally mirrors. And so, she continued, a daily practitioner of emotional alignment. Gratitude and enthusiasm became habits. Negative emotions were acknowledged, transformed, and redirected. Focus remained sharp. Belief remained firm. Expectancy guided every step. She had discovered the missing piece of the law of attraction, the silent force that turns intention into tangible results. Through emotional mastery, Sophia had unlocked a power within herself that she had never known. The law of attraction, once theoretical, became practical. Life no longer seemed random or uncertain. It moved in response to her inner state. And she knew, with quiet confidence, that her consistent practice of thought, belief, and emotional alignment had placed her firmly on the path to success. The lesson for every reader is clear. Master your emotions as carefully as you master your thoughts. Cultivate gratitude, enthusiasm, and calm resolve. Transform fear, anger, and doubt into energy that serves your purpose. In this harmony, the law of attraction moves swiftly, and life begins to bend toward your desires. Sophia had learned that true power comes not from force, but from alignment. Her inner world now created the outer world she sought. And for anyone willing to practice the same principles, the path to achievement is equally open, waiting to be claimed. Part 4 highlights. Emotional alignment is essential to success. Gratitude and enthusiasm amplify the law of attraction. Negative emotions can be transmuted into productive energy. Daily practice creates a stable inner climate. Life mirrors the emotional state of the individual. This sets up Part 5 to focus on persistence, resilience, and the mastery of repeated action in harmony with thought, belief, and emotion. Do you want me to continue with Part 5 next? Here's Part 5 of your 6-part motivational series, rewritten in engaging story style inspired by Napoleon Hill. It is for an American audience, easy and simple language, begins with a strong hook, and is about 1,000 words. Part 5, Persistence, Resilience, and the Power of Repeated Action. Jackson had always dreamed of building a company that could make a real difference. He had clarity of intention, belief in his ability, emotional alignment, and focus. Yet, despite his preparation, he often faced setbacks. A major investor withdrew at the last minute, a critical shipment was delayed, and deadlines loomed impossibly close. He felt the weight of discouragement pressing down. One evening, as he sat in his office staring at the pile of challenges, an older colleague named Marcus walked in. Marcus had built a thriving business over decades, not because luck favored him, but because he understood a secret few ever grasp: persistence. Marcus said, "Jackson, life responds not to how hard you try for a moment, but to how long you keep at it. The law of attraction is real, but it only works when your actions are steady, repeated, and unwavering. You must persist." Jackson felt a spark. He realized he had underestimated the power of consistent action. Focus, belief, and emotional alignment set the stage, but without persistent effort, the play could never reach its climax. Marcus continued, "Persistence is like a river cutting through rock. Each small effort may seem insignificant, but over time, the force accumulates. Success is the result of repeated, purposeful actions taken with faith and conviction." Determined to apply this principle, Jackson began a new routine. Each day, he revisited his intention, visualized success, aligned his emotions with gratitude and enthusiasm, and then took deliberate action. No matter the obstacles, no matter the delays, he moved forward step by step. He learned to embrace small victories and treat challenges as lessons, not as signs of failure. At first, progress seemed slow. There were days when nothing appeared to happen, when frustrations threatened to undo his resolve. But Jackson remembered Marcus's words. Persistence does not rely on immediate reward. It relies on consistency and faith in the process. Every repeated action strengthens the path for the law of attraction to operate. Jackson also discovered that resilience was essential to persistence. Resilience is not merely enduring hardship, it is adapting, learning, and moving forward despite temporary defeat. When a shipment was delayed, he did not waste energy lamenting the loss. Instead, he sought alternative solutions, communicated with partners, and restructured plans. Each act of resilience reinforced his inner belief and kept the momentum alive. He noticed a pattern. Each time he persisted through a challenge, new opportunities emerged. Unexpected support arrived, creative solutions presented themselves, and doors opened where there had previously been walls. Persistence, coupled with belief and emotional alignment, created a magnetic force that drew circumstances in his favor. The universe was responding to his unwavering commitment. Jackson also learned the importance of maintaining focus while persisting. Action without direction can waste energy, while persistence with clarity magnifies its effect. Each day, he concentrated on the actions that mattered most, ignoring distractions and small inconveniences. He knew that repeated action toward a clear aim is far more powerful than frantic movement in many directions. Marcus taught him another key principle: learn from every action. Reflection turns persistence into wisdom. Jackson began reviewing each step, analyzing results, and refining his approach. He treated every obstacle as information, every failure as a guidepost. Persistence became intelligent, adaptive, and strategic. This combination created unstoppable momentum. Another breakthrough came when Jackson realized the subtle interplay between patience and urgency. He understood that repeated action must be applied with deliberate timing. He could not rush the universe, yet he could act as if his success depended on his consistent effort. Each act, however small, was a signal to the law of attraction that he was committed and prepared to receive. Over the weeks, Jackson saw tangible results. Partnerships he had hoped for materialized. Problems that had seemed insurmountable resolved themselves. Ideas flowed more freely, and his team began to match his energy, inspired by his consistency. The law of attraction was no longer theoretical. It was practical, operating through the alignment of thought, emotion, belief, and repeated action. Persistence also strengthened his character. Jackson realized that challenges were not barriers but opportunities to cultivate patience, determination, and inner strength. Each obstacle that he overcame added weight to his belief, depth to his gratitude, and clarity to his focus. Life no longer felt random. It responded faithfully to the energy he projected through consistent, aligned effort. One morning, Jackson reflected on how far he had come. A year earlier, he had been scattered, uncertain, and frustrated. Now, despite the ups and downs, he had created a forward-moving current that propelled him closer to his goals daily. He understood that mastery is not instant. It is the result of repeated, deliberate actions applied over time with unwavering belief, aligned emotions, and focused attention. He shared this insight with his team. Effort alone is not enough, he said. You must act consistently, learn from every step, and maintain faith. The law of attraction works for those who persist, not for those who quit at the first obstacle. Your actions, repeated with alignment, create the reality you desire. Jackson's story illustrates a profound truth Napoleon Hill emphasized: success is rarely a sudden stroke of luck. It is the product of persistence, intelligent action, emotional alignment, and belief. The law of attraction multiplies these forces, responding faithfully to the energy of a disciplined and determined mind. By embracing repeated action, Jackson created a momentum that could not be stopped. Each morning, he reaffirmed his intentions, aligned his emotions, and took purposeful steps forward. Each challenge became an opportunity to practice resilience. Each success, no matter how small, fueled his belief and expectancy. The lesson for everyone is clear. Persistence is the engine of achievement. Repeated, focused action is the signal the universe responds to. Resilience turns temporary defeat into advantage. Patience combined with consistent effort magnifies the power of belief and emotional alignment. This is the path through which thought becomes reality, intention becomes manifestation, and dreams become life. Jackson had learned that the law of attraction is not magic, it is disciplined practice. When thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and repeated actions are aligned, the world mirrors your inner certainty. Obstacles no longer intimidate. Opportunities appear with ease. Progress becomes inevitable. And through persistence, the human spirit discovers its true power. Every step he took became a confirmation of the principle. What is held in mind, nurtured with belief, aligned with emotion, and pursued with persistence will inevitably take form. Repeated, purposeful action is the bridge between desire and reality. Jackson walked that bridge daily, and with each step, the life he imagined unfolded before him, proof that the law of attraction rewards the persistent and the steadfast. Part 5 highlights: persistence is essential for the law of attraction to operate fully. Resilience turns setbacks into opportunities. Repeated, deliberate action amplifies belief and emotional alignment. Patience and focus magnify results. Momentum builds through consistent practice. This naturally sets the stage for Part 6, the final part, which will focus on mastering all the principles together to create a life of sustained success and fulfillment. Do you want me to continue with Part 6 next? Here's Part 6, the final part of your 6-part motivational series, rewritten in an engaging story style inspired by Napoleon Hill. It's designed for an American audience, uses easy and simple language, has a strong hook, and includes a call to action at the end. Part 6. The mastery of alignment and the fulfillment of dreams. Ethan stood at the edge of the small dock, watching the morning sun shimmer across the lake. He reflected on the journey he had taken over the past year. He remembered the days of doubt, confusion, and scattered effort. He remembered the nights when he questioned whether his intentions were even possible. Yet here he was, calmer, stronger, and closer to his goals than he had ever imagined. The transformation had not happened overnight. It had come step by step, principle by principle, each building upon the last. Ethan understood now that success was not a single action or a sudden stroke of luck. It was the result of the complete alignment of thought, belief, emotion, focus, and persistent action. He remembered the first lesson: clarity of intention. Without knowing precisely what he wanted, his energy had drifted aimlessly. Once he defined his goals with sharpness, he saw how the universe began to respond. Opportunities appeared, people offered help, and paths opened where before there had been only obstacles. Then came the lesson of belief and expectancy. Ethan realized that effort alone was insufficient. He had to truly expect success. He had to see it, feel it, and believe it with the certainty that it was already on its way. When he did, doors opened that human planning could never have predicted. He recalled the days of emotional mastery. Gratitude had changed everything. By appreciating every small success and anticipating the good yet to come, he created an internal climate that attracted more of the same. Enthusiasm became his fuel, fear his teacher, and every negative emotion a tool to be redirected toward his purpose. Focus and attention had sharpened his mind. He no longer allowed distractions to claim his energy. Every thought and every action served his intention. He learned to guard his attention as one guards a precious treasure, and in return, the law of attraction responded with precision. Persistence had been the bridge from intention to manifestation. Even when delays, setbacks, and disappointments threatened his progress, he refused to quit. He took consistent, deliberate action every day, understanding that small steps, repeated faithfully, create unstoppable momentum. Resilience made him stronger with every obstacle, and his belief grew with every act of perseverance. Now Ethan understood the final truth, the culmination of all the principles he had learned. Mastery comes when these forces work together in perfect harmony. Thought, belief, emotion, focus, and action must align like a finely tuned orchestra. When this happens, the law of attraction becomes unstoppable. He remembered one particular morning when everything seemed to fall into place. A major contract he had been pursuing for months, one that had seemed out of reach, finally materialized. Not because he had forced it, but because every part of his being, mind, heart, and action, was in alignment. He realized that the law of attraction does not respond to struggle. It responds to harmony. Ethan's success was no accident. Every step he had taken, every thought he had nurtured, every emotion he had directed, and every action he had repeated had built a magnetic force that drew circumstances, people, and opportunities toward him. The universe mirrored the exact pattern he had impressed upon it. He smiled, recalling how often he had chased goals with desperate effort in the past, only to feel frustration and disappointment. Now he knew the secret. It was never about pushing harder, it was about aligning fully. Effort is strengthened exponentially when combined with clarity, belief, emotion, focus, and persistent action. Ethan also realized the power of teaching these principles to others. He could share the knowledge, not as theory, but as practice. He began mentoring colleagues, friends, and family, showing them how to align their inner world to achieve their outer goals. He saw the law of attraction respond in their lives as it had in his, confirming that these principles are universal and accessible to anyone willing to practice them. Finally, Ethan understood the most profound lesson: true success is not just material achievement. It is the cultivation of a life lived with intention, clarity, and harmony. It is the joy of knowing that every thought, belief, and action contributes to a purpose larger than oneself. It is the satisfaction of moving through life with certainty, calm, and aligned energy. He reflected on the journey with gratitude. Each struggle, each mistake, each challenge had been necessary. They had shaped his character, refined his focus, and strengthened his emotional resilience. The law of attraction had not taken shortcuts, but it had rewarded his alignment and consistency in ways that seemed almost miraculous. As the sun rose higher, Ethan made a promise to himself. He would continue to live in alignment, protect his thoughts and emotions, maintain focus, and act persistently. He would cultivate gratitude, enthusiasm, and belief in every endeavor. He understood that the law of attraction is not a magic trick. It is a reliable principle that responds to alignment and harmony. And now, he turned to the future with confidence. Whatever new goals he set, whatever new challenges arose, he knew the principles would guide him. Thought, belief, emotion, focus, and persistent action united were a force no circumstance could resist. Alignment was the key, and mastery was the result. Ethan's journey teaches a timeless lesson. The power to shape life rests in the hands of those who understand and apply these principles. Anyone can transform their circumstances when they bring clarity to their intentions, cultivate unwavering belief, maintain emotional harmony, focus attention, and act persistently. The law of attraction is not an abstract idea. It is a living, responsive force that mirrors the state of your mind, heart, and actions. When you align these forces, the world itself bends to meet your intentions. This is the mastery Napoleon Hill spoke of, the art of achieving any worthwhile goal with certainty, faith, and aligned effort. Now it is your turn. Take the lessons from Ethan's journey and apply them in your life. Define your goals clearly. Align your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Persist daily, even in the face of challenges. Cultivate gratitude, enthusiasm, and belief. Observe the law of attraction as it mirrors your inner world into outer reality. The power has always been within you. You now know how to focus it, refine it, and release it into the world with purpose. Start today. Take deliberate action. Hold your vision with belief. Align your inner world with your desires, and watch the life you imagine unfold before your eyes. If you found this series valuable, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to the channel for more motivational stories. Share this message with friends and family who want to transform their lives. Comment below with your goals and experiences, and let's create a community of aligned, determined, and successful people who use the law of attraction to shape their destiny. Part 6 highlights: mastery comes from complete alignment of thought, belief, emotion, focus, and action. Persistence and resilience magnify the power of the law of attraction. Gratitude and enthusiasm maintain the emotional climate necessary for success. True success is harmony between inner world and outer reality. The law of attraction responds predictably to alignment and deliberate practice.